Okay, outcome 1, reduce plastic waste generation. And there's a little drawing of generation use pointing to collection and processing to end-of-life future state, the life cycle of the plastic. Proposed target, phase out key single-use plastics in New South Wales. What is the problem? The low cost and versatility of plastic means we often use it as a disposable or single-use material, particularly in packaging and convenience items like plastic plates and cutlery. These types of plastic are problematic because they have little or no leftover value, are difficult and costly to recycle, and often end up in landfill or as litter in the environment. Single-use or disposable plastic items may also be thought of as unnecessary because they can often be replaced with viable alternatives.
We currently produce many plastics that could be considered unnecessary, plastics that are not essential, but merely convenient and easy to use. These plastics can be reduced, substituted with non-plastic fit-for-purpose alternatives, or eliminated entirely without significantly compromising utility, access to products or services, or causing undesirable environmental outcomes. Any plastic that is produced creates manufacturing costs, as well as further downstream costs once it becomes waste, during collection, recycling, or disposal to landfill, or is leaked into the environment, generating cleanup costs. By avoiding plastics that we don't need or that are problematic to manage, we can save finite resources, minimize risks to the environment and human health, and prevent the need for management of waste further downstream. We must fundamentally change the way we manage plastic at every stage of its life cycle. Developing a comprehensive plan to address plastics. Who is responsible? Firstly, government can use regulation where appropriate to limit the types of harmful and unnecessary plastics produced. They can work in partnership with community and industry to improve understanding about how to avoid plastic waste. Next, the community can be proactive about avoiding products that end up as plastic waste. And finally, industry can work in partnership with government and the community to design out plastic waste.
Priority Direction 1. Harness people power to create a fundamental shift in the way we use plastic. People are driving a massive change in the way our society thinks about plastic and waste more generally. Plastic is at the forefront of our convenience culture, but the community is now increasingly aware of the environmental and health risk of plastic and is demanding change from government and business. Consumers have pushed businesses to shift from disposable packaging to reusable items. In New South Wales, people power pushed the major supermarkets and other retailers to move away from lightweight plastic bags to alternatives like paper or recyclable plastic bags. One major supermarket has announced a trial in 2021 of dispensing products in branded, reusable packaging that can be returned to the store where it is washed and refilled. We have an opportunity to continue to educate the community and push for behaviour change. By giving people the information and tools they need, we can help consumers make informed choices so they use less plastic. There are opportunities for government to support local community-driven initiatives. The South Australian Government, as part of its single-use plastic strategy, is setting up plastic-free precincts. The first precincts are in 3 major retail areas and the state's 21 surf life-saving organisations. These precincts are provided with targeted support to help them and their users to transition away from single-use plastics towards reusable and recyclable alternatives. Our governments are investing in urban infrastructure that can help people reduce their reliance on single-use plastics. In 2018, the German government announced that as part of its 5-point plan to reduce plastic waste, it would set up drinking fountains in cities and towns to encourage consumers to use refillable bottles instead of disposable plastic water bottles. By engaging with the community, we can design new systems that change the way we interact with plastic. Some of these may involve new rules, new standards, but even some extra costs. But by working with the community, we can have an open discussion about the need for action and the ways we can best drive behaviour change.
Case study, water stations. Sydney Water and the Sydney Cricket and Sports Ground Trust have installed 12 new permanent water stations at the Sydney Cricket Grounds, providing free water for cricket fans in an effort to continue and encourage better health and a better environment. The water stations proved a hit at the January 2018 Sydney Ashes Test, where spectators consumed almost 13,000 litres of water from the refill stations across the 5 days of the test, the equivalent of over 20,000 bottles of water of 600 milliliter each. Notably, the 4th day of the match saw temperatures reach over 43 degrees Celsius, the highest temperature ever recorded during a test match in Australia. By using the water station and avoiding those 20,000 bottles of water, fans saved over 15,000 kilowatt hours of electricity, over 32,000 litres of water and 3,000 litres of oil from the plastic bottle manufacturing process. In addition, a significant amount of fuel and carbon emission have been saved by not having to transport the plastic bottles.
Giving the community better information about the harmful impacts of plastic litter and pollution can also encourage people to make better choices about how they manage their plastic waste. In New South Wales, we have run a successful long-running campaign targeting littering, highlighting the impacts on the environment and encouraging behaviour change. So we'll now look at the Don't Be a Tosser campaign case study. This campaign has had a large impact on the community's self-awareness of littering behaviour. Importantly, since the beginning of the current campaign in March 2018, there's been a 17% increase in people's own awareness of their littering behaviour, with the biggest shift being the number of people admitting to littering less than once a month. This is critical to creating long-lasting behaviour change, as once someone is aware of their own actions, it's easier to positively influence their behaviour. The next paragraph's about the future of the Tosser campaign. So building on the success of the Don't Be a Tosser campaign, the New South Wales government is running a marine litter campaign in 2020 to raise community awareness of the impact of litter on the marine environment. The approach will be to create a meaningful conversations with the community about the consequences of marine litter. Through the ongoing development of the Don't Be a Tosser campaign, the New South Wales government is showcasing the consequences both of individual and environmental littering that will capture the attention of the community and educate them on why their litter matters.
Tell us your thoughts. The government wants to know what you think. Do you support using less plastic in New South Wales? Is it hard to use less plastic? If so, why? How can the New South Wales government make it easier to use less plastic? And how can businesses make it easier to use less plastic? Tell the New South Wales government your thoughts through the online surveys found at the website yoursay.dpi.nsw.gov.au/plastics plan.
Priority direction number 2, set standards for consumer items to design out plastic waste. Consistent mandated product design standards for certain plastic items would help reduce problematic and unnecessary plastics that can harm the environment and increase the use of recyclable materials. By designing out plastic waste, we can reduce the amount of plastic that is littered or landfilled. This can create a shift towards durable and reusable materials and increase the production of plastic that is recycled and remanufactured. Many large Australian companies have already signed up to the Australian Packaging Covenant organisation, known as APCO, industry target to shift to 100% of all packaging being recyclable, reusable or compostable by 2025. New South Wales will support and monitor the progress of APCO's members to achieve this target, as further New South Wales actions may be needed if this target is not achieved. New South Wales could also work with packaging industry companies that are not APCO members to make sure there are comprehensive actions to improve the sustainability of all plastic packaging generated in New South Wales. Building on these targets, New South Wales could consider mandating product standards for plastic items, including packaging, to make sure items can be cheaply and easily recycled and used as inputs into the remanufacturing process. Standards could apply not only to the types of polymers used, but also to the way that certain items are assembled, to make sure that recyclable parts are easily separated, for example. This could apply to packaging, which often has many parts of varying recyclability, or even to certain composite construction materials that can be used, polymers like expanded polystyrene. The European Union has introduced standards for beverage containers that have single-use parts, like bottle caps, for example. State-based product standards can face challenges with setting up and running, but can also stimulate national action. Any standards would be carefully considered and developed in close consultation with industry and the community.
Again, the New South Wales Government wants to hear your thoughts. Do you support the New South Wales Government introducing mandatory design standards for certain plastic products, like the bottles they just mentioned? What products or materials should have mandatory design standards? And what mandatory design standards would significantly reduce plastic waste generation? Tell the New South Wales Government your thoughts through the online surveys found at the website yoursay.dpie.nsw.gov.au/plastics-plan.
Priority Direction 3. Phase out key single-use plastic items. Some aspects of plastic waste can be tackled through regulatory action. This includes phasing out specific single-use items that typically end up in landfill or as litter. Mandated phase-outs of certain single-use plastic items have been happening in every other Australian state and territory and in many places overseas. Victoria's plastic bag ban came into force in 2019. South Australia banned lightweight shopping bags more than a decade ago and has recently released a list of other single-use plastic items it will target for phasing out, including heavier boutique plastic bags. Likewise, bans on bags and other single-use items like disposable plates and cutlery, straws, and food and beverage containers are in place across the EU, Canada, many US states, Bangladesh, New Zealand, and Taiwan. In New South Wales, the major supermarkets and other retailers have voluntarily phased out lightweight shopping bags, replacing them with heavier plastic bags or paper alternatives, and encouraging their customers to bring their own reusable bags. Some supermarkets provide their customers with scrap cardboard boxes, which can later be recycled. These moves have reduced the number of plastic bags in the community, but not all retailers have made the shift. Additionally, the heavier plastic bags now being offered, usually at a cost to the consumer, also pose similar risks to the environment when they are only used for a limited time and then disposed of. Some work has started between industry and governments to move businesses away from heavier plastic bags. However, these items should also be considered as part of any phase-out.
Beyond plastic shopping bags, there are a range of other single-use items that pose potential risks to our environment through the litter stream, are not easily recoverable and recyclable, and could be replaced with other materials. These include disposable plastic plates, bowls, cutlery, cups, stirrers, and some other single-use food service items. Expanded polystyrene food and beverage containers, plastic straws, heavier boutique plastic bags, oxo-degradable plastics. We intend to phase out lightweight plastic bags, shopping bags less than 35 microns thick, including those made from degradable and compostable plastic, and are considering doing so within 6 months from passage of legislation, while avoiding the Christmas and New Year period. This phase out will complement the other aspects of this strategy designed to support plastic recycling and reduce plastic litter entering the environment. The New South Wales Government will also consider phasing out the other plastic items and materials listed above.
Yay! Woohoo!
Any phase out will include consideration of specialist uses for some single-use plastic, like in hospitals where it is used to keep items sterile, and for people with a disability who may rely on these items. Where there are no viable alternatives for these uses, exemptions will be considered.
To begin the discussion, we are seeking your feedback now on the list of plastic items and materials for phase out, the timeframes, and any implementation challenges. Lightweight plastic bags have a suggested phase out timeframe because alternatives are readily available, and the community and industry have indicated they are eager to make the switch. However, we want to make sure consumers are given an alternative to lightweight plastic bags that minimises or avoids any costs to them. Beyond these items, we propose to develop a sound framework to assess other plastic items as new evidence comes to light. Importantly, we have to make sure sustainable options are offered as alternatives that deliver better environmental and human health outcomes. We also do not want to create an opportunity for retailers to profiteer by selling alternatives that do not have a genuinely better environmental outcome. Some alternatives, like compostable or biodegradable plastics, can break down into microplastics, leach toxic chemicals, and harm the environment, so care must be taken.
Tell the New South Wales Government your thoughts. Do you support the phase out of the listed plastic items and materials? Over what timeframes should these items and materials be phased out? Are there barriers to phasing out these items? Are there other plastics that should be phased out? And what should the New South Wales Government consider when implementing these phase outs? Tell the New South Wales Government your thoughts through the online surveys found at the website yoursay.dpie.nsw.gov.au/plastics-plan.